Bickley and Marotta mornings. Arizona sports. The local sports leader. Bickley Blast.
Weather maps say we are returning to hell this weekend in Arizona. Let's just hope that doesn't apply to the emotional state of Valley sports fans, because when we reconvene on Monday morning, the Diamondbacks will hopefully have a playoff berth in their back pocket, and we don't have to sit on pins and needles requiring help from others. Hopefully the Cardinals will be 2-2 and still tracking toward a winning season, and then it's off to Suns Media Day on Monday when we all get reconnected with Devin, Kevin, and a team with a closing championship window. You see where I'm going here? We either turn a significant short-term corner this weekend in our ragged history as a sports town, or we blow through the intersection and miss another great opportunity. It's especially true for the Diamondbacks, who will go directly to the Arizona Hall of Shame if they fail to make the postseason, but if they do get in, they will have crossed a major threshold, stacking playoff berths for the first time in a couple of decades. In other words, it's time for our sports teams to get really hot. The rest of us sweltering fools have no choice in the matter.
I hope this weekend that every game means something, and I think it will. Our crowds look great. We're looking like we could be in the 40s for each and every game. This could feel like a playoff game, unfortunately, where we have record heat, and it's in the 100s, so likelihood of the roof being open is not strong, which is too bad, because it's going to look like a playoff game other than the roof being closed, but I can't wait, and I know our fans are excited for this weekend.
That's Derek Hall, who joined us yesterday on the show. Playoff atmosphere. And you know what? I'm just going to say it, Bick. The sports gods owe the people of Phoenix.
I agree with that.
Sports weekend.
I completely agree with that.
Last weekend couldn't have sucked worse. Cardinals lose. ASU loses. The Diamondbacks blew an 8-run lead on Sunday, and we lost a legend in our community.
And Al McCoy.
Yeah.
Oh, listen, dial out. This decade has kind of sucked buttermilk, right? When you think about it, okay, we've lost a World Series. Now, getting there is great and all, but facts are facts. We lost a World Series. We lost an NBA Finals. We had two of our Suns teams absolutely implode in the postseason. We lost a hockey team, and we lost Al McCoy. Anything else go wrong? That about covers it, doesn't it?
That about covers it.
Diana Taurasi might retire.
Yeah. I saw a thing earlier today. Check this out. So the A's are no longer in Oakland. The Chargers are no longer in San Diego. The Rams are no longer in St. Louis. The Raiders are no longer in Oakland. The Nets are no longer in New Jersey. The Coyotes are not in Arizona. The Expos are not in Montreal. And the Supersonics are not in Seattle. For people of Vinny and I's generation, our childhood has disappeared.
What has happened?
But at least Oakland. How many major professional championships has Oakland won?
A lot. 10, I think.
4 for the A's, 4 for the Warriors.
2 for the Raiders.
Well, the Warriors won their...
They were still
back in the 70s.
Still,
That's right. They're 4. And 2 for the Raiders in Oakland?
Yeah.
Wow.
Okay, so here's a little thing, though. How many of those Warriors champions... Is there a difference winning it in San Francisco than winning in Oakland? Do you know what I mean? Part of what makes Oakland special is, and not to go off on a tangent here, but it's a community of sports fans without the frills. In fact, the vibe at the Coliseum yesterday was one of, look, we've got the stadium, there's no amenities, there's sewage flowing through it, there's nothing but green chairs, but we love it. Yeah. It's our vibe, so go away. That's kind of the whole thing. I don't know. In terms of applying it all to what we have in front of us now, you can make a list that's a pretty list of, those are some sucker punches that we've encountered as a sports town this decade. There's been plenty of good stuff, don't get me wrong, but the big marquee stuff, I just read the list to you. This could be a good weekend to create the illusion of change, or to create change. Diamondbacks stacking playoff berths. They have not done that since 01, 02, and in 02, the team that got into the playoffs didn't have a shot.
Yeah, that team, that 02 team actually had more wins than the 2001 World Series championship team. But like you said, fell apart at the wrong time from an injury standpoint and didn't have a chance. They weren't even competitive in that series.
And you know this because we spent a lot of time talking about this. If you are going to grow and evolve as a sports town, you have got to convert the people with mixed allegiances. You've got to convert the people here that are not predisposed to cheer for Arizona teams. How do you do that? By consistently winning. Not flash in the pan, not one-hit wonder winning, consistently winning. That's it. That's the trick.
Yeah, but not to ruffle feathers, bandwagons happen. And bandwagon, when you hear that term in sports fandom, it has a negative connotation. We talk about this because I think we're both individually fascinated by fan behavior and the psychology of sports and all of that, and how it affects communities and individuals. So people hear bandwagon and they say, "Oh, that's a terrible thing." Bandwagon is a terrible thing when you jump back off of it. And I think for a lot of the teams, or some of the teams in Arizona, and I think the Diamondbacks are one of them, it's a very temporary bandwagon. Last year, the buzz in this city over the Arizona Diamondbacks as they progressed in the postseason grew and grew and grew, and you couldn't go anywhere without anybody talking your ear off about D-backs baseball. It's
true.
Wow, where was that in July? It didn't happen. But it didn't care. I mean, there's always going to be an increase in attendance after a World Series run, and I think that's been the case this year, but not to the degree that I thought. Do you feel the same way?
No. I've felt it in pockets and in certain series, but there's been way too much of the same. Way too much of the weekday church gatherings at Chase Field. Too much of the Dodgers taking over the stadium. There's been too much of that still.
Yeah, still.
But I think that if you are a Diamondbacks fan, if you're one of those bandwagoners that kind of made this thing mainstream last year, this is probably the weekend you're tuning back in because you're right there now. It's either going to happen or it's not. It's all beginning.
It's certainly an opportunity for the team to recapture those people.
Yeah. Yes, and it's been such a struggle of a season. And I know the Diamondbacks have talked about this as well in terms of using it to a positive. Everything that they've had to overcome, it's a pretty big vat of soup, right, Jarrett? And when you stir that vat of soup,
please,
yes, please, you realize that we've gone through a lot. And we've adapted to a lot, and we've overcome a lot, and we know what it's like to have a starting pitcher get blown up in the first few innings, and then have to lean on our offense to come back and score and come all the way back in games. We know what it's like to win from ahead. We know what it's like to jump on opponents. We know what it's like. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So all these collective experiences, some good, some bad, they can all be spun towards something very useful going forward. Let's hope.
Yeah, hope is the right word. And I agree with Derek Hall. I think it's going to be a massive playoff atmosphere. There's giveaways all 3 nights. We know how those draw on the weekends. And there's a lot to play for. This is a huge, huge series for the Diamondbacks.
Thanks for watching Bickley and Marotta. Click to see the latest Bickley Blast and hit the button in the middle to subscribe to Arizona Sports.